Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tear into James Clear's Atomic Habits and figure out how really tiny changes can lead to some seriously remarkable results. Let's get right into it.
All right, so to really get this, we've got to start with a story, and it's a good one. For almost 100 years, the British cycling team was, to put it nicely, a complete joke. We're talking one single Olympic gold medal in their entire history and 0 wins in the Tour de France. They were mediocre at best.
But then, in 2003, this guy, Dave Brailsford, comes along as the new performance director, and his whole philosophy, well, it seemed almost ridiculously simple at first. He wasn't looking for some massive overnight transformation.
He had this fancy name for it, the aggregation of marginal gains. But what does that even mean? It's simple, really. The whole idea was to find just a 1% improvement in, well, everything. Every tiny little thing that goes into riding a bike.
And they took this to a whole new level. I mean, we're talking about redesigning bike seats to be more comfortable, rubbing alcohol on the tires for better grip. They even hired a surgeon to teach the team the right way to wash their hands to cut down on colds. And the results? Oh, they were absolutely staggering. They went on to completely dominate the sport for years.
So this crazy story perfectly sets up the first big idea from the book, the mind-blowing power of making tiny, consistent gains. You know, we're all guilty of this, right? We look for that one big moment, that quantum leap that will change everything. But James Clear says, nope, that's where we get it all wrong. We totally overestimate that one defining moment and completely underestimate the value of just getting a little bit better day after day.
And the math on this is it's wild. If you get just 1% better every single day for a year, you think, okay, 365% better. Wrong. Because of compounding, you end up 37 times better. Those tiny choices don't just add up, they multiply.
But, and this is a really big but, you have to know that in the beginning, it's going to feel like nothing is happening. You're putting in the work and crickets. Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential. The ice cube analogy is perfect, right? You can heat it from 25 to 31 degrees and it's still just a block of ice. But the energy isn't wasted, it's being stored. You have to keep pushing until you hit that melting point, that breakthrough moment where everything clicks.
Okay, so if we're sold on these 1% improvements, how in the world do we actually do them? Well, it takes a pretty big mental shift, away from our goals and toward our systems.
Here's the thing. The book argues pretty convincingly that we need to stop obsessing over goals and start focusing on our systems. Goals are the results you want to achieve. Systems are the processes that lead to those results. And it turns out there are some major problems with being obsessed with just the goal.
I mean, for one, think about it. Winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. Every Olympian wants to win gold, but only one does. So the goal itself isn't the magic bullet. And second, reaching a goal is just a momentary change. Sure, you can clean your messy room, but if you don't change your sloppy habits, guess what? It's going to be a disaster again in a week. You're just treating a symptom, not the root cause. All right, now we're getting to the core of it. This might be the single most powerful idea in the whole book. Real, lasting change, it's not about what you get. It's not even about what you do. It's about who you believe you are.
So Clear breaks it down into 3 layers of change. Most of us try to change from the outside in. We start with the outcome, like, I want to lose 20 pounds. But the real magic, the change that actually sticks, happens when you flip that script. It starts from the inside out. It starts with your identity.
So how do you change who you are? You don't just wish for it, you prove it to yourself with tiny wins. And this is where we get that amazing quote, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Every single time you go to the gym, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you're casting a vote for being an athletic person. Every time you write just one sentence, you're casting a vote for being a writer. And look, the goal isn't to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. The goal is to just win the election, right? Cast more votes for the person you want to be than for the person you don't. And over time, that evidence adds up, and you start to actually believe it.
Okay, theory is great, but how do we actually do this? Like in the real world, with our real messy lives? Well, this is where the book gives us an incredibly practical 4-step framework.
So every single habit we have, good or bad, follows this little loop. A cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. To build a good one, you just have to make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. So to start running, you make it obvious by leaving your shoes by the door. Make it attractive by making an awesome playlist you only listen to when you run.
Make it easy by starting with just a 5-minute jog, and make it satisfying by marking it on a calendar. To break a bad habit, you just flip it on its head, make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Okay, if you remember just one thing from all of this, make it this next part. It's one simple, powerful rule that puts all this into practice. It's all about that third law, make it easy, and it's designed to smash through that biggest barrier, just getting started. It's called the 2-minute rule, and it is a total game changer. The idea is simple. Whatever new habit you want to build, you shrink it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. You make it so laughably easy to start that you can't possibly say no. So read for 30 minutes every night becomes read 1 page. Run 3 miles becomes just put on my running shoes. See what's happening? You're not focused on the massive outcome. You're just mastering the art of showing up. Because it turns out motivation doesn't cause action. Action causes motivation. So I want you to think about this right now. What's one goal you have? And what's the tiny 2-minute version of that? What's the one small vote you can cast today for the person you want to become?
And this really brings everything full circle, doesn't it? It's not about these huge, dramatic transformations that you see in movies. It's about your commitment to the process, to those tiny, daily, almost invisible improvements. Because in the end, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So, make them good ones.